everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
And we're going right into Ian's PitStop. If you guys didn't see last week's episode, this will be a show where we talk about off-track topics, silly season rumors, and everything involved in those categories. So we're going to get right into it. Guys, we had some huge news last night. We kind of heard it. We kind of heard about it in weeks past, about the rumors of it. But Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan are officially starting a team together. They will buy Germain Racing at the end of the year, form their own NASCAR Cup Series team, and they will field Bubba Wallace as their driver. Guys, this is huge news. We know Michael Jordan is a huge NASCAR fan. He's been watching it all his life. He used to go to Darlington all the time with his father. Really good friends with Denny Hamlin. They've had a really good relationship for the past 10 years. I believe it started from golfing. And so this is just fantastic news. We know it's going to have, hopefully it's going to have really good speed, having Toyota backing, Denny Hamlin backing, and of course Michael Jordan backing. So guys, what do you have to say about this? Mike, I want to start off with you because you got the 43 hat on.
Yeah, man, this is just absolutely the best possible news. Being a Bubba Wallace fan and just being a NASCAR fan, I'm sure, as we all know, there's a lot of people that dislike Bubba Wallace as well. But I will argue that this is a good thing for those fans as well because you're getting global eyes on the sport. Michael Jordan is one of the most popular people on the planet, let alone athletes. And I'm not talking about, again, planet, not country, planet. So anytime you get somebody of that status involved in our sport, the only thing it can do is elevate it. If this team comes in and has any kind of success, you're bringing millions and millions of eyes into our sport, potentially billions even, really. Think about what that can do for, a sport that's really seen a downtick in attendance and viewership and things like that in the past years since guys like Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, all stepping away from the sport, so on and so forth, all people that have stepped away here in the last couple of years. And then again, another GOAT and Jimmy Johnson leaving this year. You're bringing in a guy like Michael Jordan who could finally help us really start to turn things around the other way without even getting into it for personal reasons to being a Bubba fan. For that alone, it's one of the most exciting things that happened in NASCAR in the longest time that I can remember. I think it's a great opportunity for NASCAR, great opportunity for Michael Jordan, phenomenal opportunity for Denny Hamlin as a businessman, and a really once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a guy like Bubba Wallace. We've talked before about, him kind of overachieving in the equipment that he's in. Bubba is one of those guys, man. He's never gotten a really good shake at any level. He had really good success in the truck series, driving for Joe Gibbs or Kyle Busch Racing at the time. KBM, I should say, doing really well down there. And that was the last competitive ride he's been in. We all know the underfunded situation he was in with the 6 at Roush Fenway in the Xfinity Series, basically having to have a season called off due to funding right before he gets the 43 ride with an injured Eric Almirola. So finally, this will be a chance that once they figure this team out, this should be race-winning equipment. It's not announced for sure, but we are pretty sure it will end up being a Toyota. And it better be the number 23 car, because that would just be absolutely badass. And
23 or 45, but
exactly,
most likely 23.
Right. This is just a blockbuster deal all around. This is the first time in a long time, guys, I can remember seeing positive NASCAR news on main sports media outlets. I saw Sports Center, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, MSNBC, Yahoo Sports, and so many others covering this already that it's again the monumental in and of itself, because 99.9% of the time, if those guys are talking about it, it's something bad.
Yeah, this could absolutely be something tremendous. We need to see what this team is going to be next year. It might take them a year to get their feet running. But, yeah, you got a big guy like Michael Jordan feeding you in money, Denny Hamlin, and then with every sponsor that Bubba Wallace is bringing in, there's no reason why this team cannot be a truly contending, hopefully race-winning team in the near future. It's just really exciting to see. We kind of talked about this on Ian's PitStop last week, I believe. I saw something like this kind of happening. I thought it was going to be with the Gaunt Brothers charter, but it's just with the 13 charter now. So It's awesome for Bubba. It's awesome for NASCAR, like Mike said, getting mainstream media talking about it. You're gonna have your haters out there, but this is Bubba Wallace's time to shine and really shut those haters up for good. I really think that this is going to be something really good coming here.
Yeah, no, I think this is just amazing news to come into the NASCAR world. We know Bubba Wallace has been a huge image for NASCAR this year, just with everything that's been going on. He's a huge voice for a lot of things going on with racial injustice and everything. And Michael Jordan coming in, Denny Hamlin helping him out and everything, starting a team together. I think this is just perfect. So I'm really excited for the future of Bubba Wallace. They did say that this would be a multi-year deal. So this is just fantastic news, boys. And we are all in the Chicagoland area. So we do have that good, Bulls relationship of being, Michael Jordan fans. So this is just great to see one of our big icons coming in for another big icon. Two worlds clashing together, and I love it. And we also have two NBA players now that are owners with Brad Daugherty and Michael Jordan.
Let's just hope this goes better than Michael Jordan owning the Bobcats.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but listen, here's my thing. I can't see Michael Jordan having much say as far as much of the day-to-day stuff goes with the race team.
Yeah.
That's just not in his wheelhouse as much as basketball is going to be. I think he's just going to be one of those guys there to write checks, show his face and, make sure the right people get put in the right positions for stuff more than anything. I think the racing stuff, that's going to fall a lot on Denny, and I think they're going to have to do well to bring in top people. I would venture to guess they're going to poach up a bunch of the people from Levine Family Racing that are going to be out of jobs this year. I would venture to guess, some of the other teams that might have some guys going, and they're going to have to poach some top guys in some situations that they will. I'm super intrigued to see who the crew chief is going to be, if it's Jerry Baxter or if it's somebody else, if it's a Mike Wheeler type, if they bring in somebody from the outside, or there's another surprise opening we don't know about, or somebody comes back from the past. I think another thing, knowing Michael Jordan, he does demand excellence. He demands, the best of everybody. They're going to bring in top people too.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. And we also saw a tweet from golfer Bubba Watson wanting to get in on the ownership of that team. So pretty cool. We got a lot of guys from different sports backgrounds coming in to help Denny and Bubba out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just to touch on something too, like you talked about too, Nick, just because they're putting this team together and there are people already calling it the dream team and the super team and furniture road racing 2.0. Guys, this isn't instantaneous success. We don't know that yet. Again, this is still a race team that still has to build race cars. We don't know what's going to happen. I think in the long term, this has every opportunity and every reason to believe it will be a successful race team. But that doesn't mean the first year or so are going to be that way. There could be lots of bugs to work out, and everything in between. So I very much so would expect Bubba to make the playoffs next year in this 23 or whatever number car does end up in fact being. But that doesn't mean he's going to come out and get 4 or 5 race wins or bust next year. I don't think that should be the expectation. I think if anything, if I had to give kind of a comparison, if they can run similar to like a Wood Brothers for the first year or so and then build on that and go, or what LFR was already this past year and build from there, you're probably at a really great starting point. And at the very least for Bubba, you're already better off than you were in the 43.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Is I think their goal for next year is I think they have to be better than 43 car because, like you said, we don't know what's to come from this first season that they're going to have together. This is not like they're just taking over a team. They are starting this team from pretty much the ground up from scratch. Like you said, they're going to have to bring in some top-notch people, and to do that, they're going to have to run well. So this is going to be Denny Hamlin and Bubba are going to have to get this thing rolling. Yeah, I'm excited though. It's going to be a fun 2021 season.
Yeah, and this is going
Yeah.
to be one of those things we're going to be reporting on all year next year and probably every week as we go forward this year, because this is going to be one of the most fun evolving stories we're going to have in a long time. And I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I am excited as hell for the first NASCAR video game we get with a Michael Jordan Denny Hamlin race car on it.
Oh yeah, and dude, I'm excited for the merch too.
Oh yes, dude.
That is gonna be awesome. I want to see Bubba driving a Jordan brand car. That would be badass.
Well,
And
just
a really cool fact too that I saw this morning, when Bubba Wallace won at Martinsville back in the Truck Series, Denny Hamlin started in that race, and he had the Jordan brand on his truck. So I think that's kind of a pretty cool connection right there.
yeah, that's awesome. And I was just gonna say too, going back to the merch thing, you know, being Chicagoland boys, I grew up a lot of times going with my mom around the holidays downtown Chicago and spending a lot of time in the Nike store, Nike Town downtown. How badass is it gonna be walking in there and potentially seeing Bubba Wallace gear?
Are we gonna get some Bubba Jordans?
That would
Oh
be cool.
man.
But my favorite thing I've seen is people already asking for them to have him jump into Space Jam or do a
Oh,
spin-off with him and call it Race Jam.
well, because I think they were supposed to do something like that with Jeff Gordon back in the day, but it never happened. They were
Yeah.
supposed to do like a Looney Tunes style movie of like Space Jam with Jeff Gordon, and I feel like now would be the perfect time since you have that connection with Bubba Wallace and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and I mean he's already done Cars 3 and I'm sure he's good buddies enough with guys like Blaney and Chase, the other bigger names in the sport. I'm sure they could bring a bunch of those guys in and make a pretty awesome movie out of it too and do a nice little spin for us.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be cool. Like, we got that Space Jam 2 coming out with LeBron James. That would be cool if they maybe put that on the car since, Michael
Yeah.
Jordan's got that Space Jam connection, even though it's LeBron James. But I can see that happening.
Oh, 100%.
All right, guys. So, yeah, that was some crazy news that we got there, and it did not stop yesterday. So, NASCAR did announce that they will be moving the All Star race to Texas Motor Speedway next year, taking away a points paying race and going to the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, where Formula One races at. We did see Tony Stewart. He did test there last year with a cup car. He was having some fun with some Formula One drivers with the Haas team. So, guys, what do you think about that? We're moving the All Star race from Bristol to Texas, but we are getting a new road course, the Circuit of the Americas. What do you guys got to say about that?
I think there's some good and some bad to come with that. Obviously, the good is taking away a points paying race from Texas. Yes, we're moving the All Star race there, which I don't really understand why they're doing that, but I kind of like that NASCAR. This will be the third year with the All Star race being at a different racetrack. I do kind of like that idea. So maybe this isn't like something to stay. Like this isn't going to become the new home of the All Star race, but they hyped up the Bristol All Star race to be something truly amazing, and at least from what I saw on TV, it didn't live up to its hype.
It was
So
too
I
short.
I would kind of like to see. Well, it was too short, and he couldn't pass. So I would kind of like to see moving forward. Let's do like a new racetrack every year for an All Star race. I think that's just a great way of promoting it and everything. Because honestly, the All Star race the past couple of years hasn't really been exciting anyway. It's kind of losing its touch. So maybe something like moving the location year in year out could do something to help there. And I like that we're losing a Texas points paying race, and it brings in a new road course because the road courses have been really exciting these past couple of years. I wonder what that means for the future of some of these other existing road courses in NASCAR right now. Like for say, Sonoma comes to the top of the list for me. Does the Cup Series continue to go to Sonoma, or with the addition of the Circuit of the Americas, what goes on there? So you got some exciting stuff here, and a lot of the fans hate that the All Star race is going to Texas. But like I said, it's probably not going to be the best race, but I would like to see year in, year out NASCAR moving the location of the All Star races like they should do with the championship race as well.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think there's more positive here than there is negative. First and foremost, you guys know I'm also a pretty avid Formula One fan. The Circuit of the Americas is badass, guys. Crazy elevation changes on straightaways, crazy looping turns. This is going to be a super fun racetrack, I think, to watch NASCAR race at. We hear from these fan council polls all the time, and from people on social media and stuff like that the biggest things NASCAR fans want now are more short tracks, more road courses. So here we are adding a road course to the mix. So and potentially adding another short track with the news we got recently too, with what could happen at Auto Club. So it's nice to hear that some of that stuff is being looked into as well. I'll be honest, guys, I really don't care where the All-Star race is run at. It's the All-Star race. It's not a points paying race. But I will say this. Yes, it does suck losing it from Bristol, although I thought the All-Star race was underwhelming there this year. I thought the underglow under the cars ended up being really stupid. I thought the race wasn't long enough for enough rubber to get set into the track. To see multiple lines be good this year. And we don't know what the full plan is going to be for Texas yet. All we know is the race is going to be there for the All-Star race. They may, come out with an entirely different package, some kind of crazy different rules. There just might be some kind of little curveball in there for that we just don't know about yet, because we're all pretty aware that Texas, since the repave and configuration, has been kind of a snoozer, especially with this 550 horsepower package, which is absolutely terrible there. So if they want this to be the All-Star race, they really have to find a way to make it entertaining for the fans. And I think going way outside the box with something is the way to do it. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I like this move. I think moving to a new road course like the Circuit of the Americas is really, really cool, with the Formula One races that we have there down in Texas. Yeah, Mike, like you said, I don't really care where the All-Star race is. It's just a race for fun. It's for $1 million. They don't, it's non-points paying race, so they can put it at Pocono. I could care less.
Oh God.
So yeah, I thought, I wanted to get a reaction out of you there. But yeah, it's the All-Star race. They'll move it to Texas. I'm sure they'll move it somewhere else next year, like somewhere like Phoenix or Chicagoland. I can see that happening with fun racetracks like that where we get like multi grooves. And yeah, so I really like the addition of Circuit of the Americas. I really want to see, if we are going to add a road course, I really wanted to see Road America on there because, number one, it's close to home for me at least. It's about an hour and a half drive from here, and it is just a fun track to watch some racing. So, cool addition. And we'll see.
America, for all we know, still could be getting added to the schedule. It
Yeah.
hasn't been yet.
Yeah, I just don't know how many road courses they want to add. Yeah. If they do take away Sonoma, then they could fill in that void.
Right.
But
yeah.
So who really knows at this point?
Well, listen, we saw them about 10, 15, 20 years ago. The boom was 1.5 miles, especially like your D-shaped oval 1.5 miles. We seem to see one in every city that didn't have a racetrack in America. That was a major city for a little while there. NASCAR got one and they overdid it. So I hope we don't see that. I've always been a proponent in a lot of ways where less is more. You do the same thing over and over, you kind of beat a dead horse. So let's add some short tracks. Let's add some road course racing. But let's not go so heavy on those two things that it gets so watered down and saturated that they lose what makes them special too. So we got to make sure we have. I think the real answer here is the right mixture and combination of the multiple kind of racing that NASCAR can produce, not just going heavy on the two that the fans want.
Right, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to see a Cup Series schedule that has like 8 road course races on it. I think that's just totally unnecessary. I think a good balance of like maybe 4 or 5 road course races would be great to see, because short tracks, that's what we really want. That what I think puts on the best racing. And then, yes, there's some really good 1.5 miles that put on great racing as well. Chicagoland Speedway being the best one in my opinion. Maybe a little biased, but always can't forget your super speedway racing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's always going to draw in the casual fan. So you're always going to have those. And your diehards obviously love them as well, too. So, yeah, you throw a good mix of everything in together, and I think you're going to be on the right path.
Right, yeah. I think they just kind of need to start dumbing down the 1.5 mile program, because I feel like, we just go to so many 1.5 miles lately where it just kind of gets a little boring when we come to one of them, like Vegas or somewhere like Texas or Charlotte or something like that.
Well,
so
is that they're running is what's
Yeah.
making.
Well, yeah.
It's not the tracks per se
Yeah, not the
themselves.
track
But
specifically.
give
Yeah.
a decent package, and then we can roll with it.
It just feels like we, it's just the most of the kind of tracks that we have. It takes up the majority of the style of tracks that we have for the NASCAR schedule. So I'd like to see them kind of dumb that down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think too many mile and a halves in the situation we are now has kind of been what's really hurt NASCAR a lot in a lot of ways. But I think the aero package also does no favors when it comes to these mile and a half tracks. So I think in 2 years, when we're looking at the next gen car and once again a completely revamped schedule, because that's the other thing I'd like to caution anybody listening to and anybody overreacting and freaking out. We know this is going to be kind of like we said a lame duck year in a lot of ways because we know we're getting the new package and everything for the 2022 season. I think at this point, going into that with the way COVID's been, I think they're just trying to put together what they can when they can in the short amount of time they have had with what's gone on in the world with the pandemic. So anything we get for next year, I wouldn't take too crazy as far as looking into the future of the sport. I think 2022 and beyond, you're going to see something entirely different than what we see now.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. All right, guys. So now let's get into some more top news. This broke the other day. Ross Chastain, he will officially be driving for Chip Ganassi Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2021. We saw he had a part-time schedule before a few years ago. He got that win at Vegas in the Xfinity Series with Chip Ganassi Racing. They had a ride lined up for him in the Xfinity Series, but then everything kind of fell through with DC Solar being raided by the FBI, and then they couldn't fund him with that sponsor. And then Chip Ganassi Racing just ended up closing in the Xfinity Series. Thank God Caldick came around, gave him a ride. So finally, Chip Ganassi giving him the ride that he finally deserves going into 2021. Guys, do you think that he really deserves this ride right now with not showing the race winning speed that he has shown this year?
Um, I would say, yeah, he does deserve to have the opportunity he's in. If you guys remember, and you people want to look back when the Kyle Larson news broke, and we found out that Matt Kenseth was coming, and this is one of the things I thought would be the best thing for Ross. Why throw him into the middle of a goofy situation with the COVID season and everything? First year in this new car. I know obviously he runs in some lower level teams and stuff, but obviously the expectations are going to be way different for him coming into this 42 team. So why put him in a big situation like that when you don't necessarily have to? So now he's coming into a fresh season and a fresh situation and is going to have a chance to flourish. And again, guys, I think obviously Colleague has been a good car at speedway racing, super speedway racing, but I don't know if they've been as crazy fast as we'd expect them to be in other situations. So I'm not going to sit here and say that for sure Ross Chastain is super underwhelmed. I just don't think the situations in has been as concrete as we thought it was coming into the year. I think he's done what he's needed to do. I think he's proven he'll be a fun racer to watch at the Cup Series level in the top ride. And yeah, I think he's very deserving.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'd say he's also very deserving of this ride. I mean, Chip Ganassi Racing kind of owes him this one after with the whole DC Solar thing and everything. But yeah, but I mean, we've talked about this for since like last year. We kind of figured Ross Chastain at some point was going to get a chance to drive for Chip Ganassi Racing. We thought it would come from a Kurt Busch retirement or something like that, because nobody knew last year that Kyle Larson was going to say what he was going to say and lose his ride. But no, this is absolutely deserving for Chastain. I'm excited for this move and for Colleague in the Xfinity Series. I mean, Ross Chastain is one of the most consistent guys in that series right now. He's a top 5 to top 7 car week in and week out. Yes, he hasn't won, but it's not like he's running 12 to 15 and it's underwhelming at that point. So I think this will be a good move for him. I think he's got a chance to turn this 42 program around, and I think with the news of Bubba going to Denny Hamlin Racing, I think that kind of really set this in motion for Ross to take that ride.
Oh, definitely. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for the Melon Man. We know that he has a lot of speed. It's just been a weird year with 2020 going on, not getting the practice. He's been close to getting those wins, but I do think that the 42 will be a perfect ride for him. Like we said, Chip Ganassi kind of owes him with the whole DC Solar thing. So this is just fantastic news. I really do like Ross Chastain, and I'm just happy for him. He really deserves this because he has been in NASCAR for a while, and we know that he has had some terrible rides. So it's good to see someone like Ross get a top tier ride.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. The only reason I feel bad for the guy is, man, they didn't even get to enjoy this as the top news for a whole day
Right.
because they dropped the
Yeah.
Michael Jordan Denny Hamlin bombshell on the exact same day. But yeah, I mean, Ross Chastain isn't a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid coming up trying to prove his mettle. He's cut his teeth in lower end teams and proven that he can be a consistent race car driver while also being a very aggressive and very exciting race car driver at the same time. We've seen what he's done in the Xfinity Series in the trucks as far as putting on a good show and being up there at points and having opportunities to win. It's for me, I think it's time to dispel this rumor sometimes that, or this notion that, oh, you got to win and win championships at the lower levels before you're ready for the cups. It's bull.
Hey, watch your language, man.
Jimmy Johnson didn't have a boatload of success down there. Ryan Blaney didn't have a boatload of success down there in the Xfinity Series. We've seen a lot of guys have a lot of success in those levels, in the lower levels, that haven't done much of anything and been very underwhelming in their cup careers. Looking at guys like
Jones.
Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez, both. Guys that have won championships at lower levels, Ricky Stenhouse to a degree. So yeah, it's great that you have those accolades on your way up. And I'm never going to tell anybody, obviously, not to root for a championship, but we know these cars drive so different. We know, going from the trucks, the Xfinity to the Cup Series, every situation is different. That doesn't mean you're going to do good or bad at the Cup level. It's just experience along the way.
Exactly. All right, guys, and we're going to finish off the show with Chase Briscoe. So, this past weekend, he claimed his seventh victory of 2020. He said he needs 8 or more wins to be considered for a cup level ride. So, do you think that he will take possibly a ride at Stewart Haas Racing, or will he join Go Fast, or is he going to stay down in the Xfinity Series for one more year and try and chase another championship?
Well, we kind of touched on this in our Bristol review show. If for guys, go check that one out. That was a fun one to film. But he said it today in his playoff media availability that, well, he definitely is cup ready. The guy has kicked ass this year. I really like Chase Briscoe. I like the kind of guy he is. He races clean, so he's definitely ready for it. But why go? Because it looks like from right now that Clint Boyer is going to resign with Stewart House Racing. So why would you go join a cup team to go run 25th to 30th every week? I just don't think you get anything out of that. If I'm Chase Briscoe, I think this is what's going to happen. He said it himself. I would rather go win an Xfinity championship and more races down there than run 25th to 30th in the cup level. So I think Chase Briscoe, it doesn't look like anything's going to open up for him. I think he's going to stay another year in the Xfinity series.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tend to agree there. I think we're going to see him and on Austin Cindric both in the Xfinity Series battling for a championship yet again in 2021. Like I've said earlier in the show, I think the 2021 season is going to be a lame duck season. I think teams are going to be kind of reluctant to move on to rookies for veteran drivers as we finish up this season. I think you're going to see a lot of guys signing 1-year deals, and we're going to be back in the same situation next year with multiple rides being open going into the 2022 season. Multiple big rides even could be available in the 2022 season, and I think that's where guys like Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe are going to have their major opportunities. I would agree at this point in time that um, for those two in their situation, being young drivers on the way up, different situations than Ross Chastain, that being down in the Xfinity Series is probably more valuable for them than it would be to come to the cup level and ride around in the back of the pack. Um, although there is no substitute for seat time at the Cup Series level too, we've also seen guys get forgotten about in those roles too. So, or guys, just completely, kind of lose their careers. So these are two guys that are looking really good right now. If you're not going to get a ride where you can really kind of show what you can do at the Cup level, in their situations, there's no reason for me to think that the smart thing to do would be to try to move up.
Yeah, I'd say I'd have to agree with you guys there. The smartest thing for Chase Briscoe to do right now, stay down in the Xfinity Series because we got a lot of cup rides that are being, taken right now. And we've heard the rumors of Clint Boyer possibly signing another year deal with SHR. Almirola already signed one, and well, we know that Corey LaJoie is leaving the 32, but like you guys said, I don't think he wants to be in a ride where he's going to be running around like 25th to 30th every weekend. Chase Briscoe is a guy who should be in top tier equipment where he should be competing for the win every weekend. So stick around one more year. Wait for Boyer. I think Boyer's got one more year in the Cup Series. He's going to stick around in the 14 next year, retire, and then go to the booth. And then I think Chase Briscoe is going to take that 14.
Yeah, I agree. I think, kind of going back to what I talked about with, winning championships at the lower levels, not being the be all end all of future Cup success. But I will say one thing, the experience at those lower levels of learning how to be a race car driver and learning your craft is what is important. So especially touching on a guy like an Austin Cindric, who coming into this season, we weren't really sure what kind of racer he was outside of the road course racers. So he's added a lot of different kind of racetrack wins to his resume this year, which is good. But I do think he could stand to build on it a little more. Chase Briscoe, I think, is a little more, refined and is a little more ready for a Cup ride. I just don't think the opportunity is there. So while, in my opinion, those results may not always be the most important thing, especially given the situations that you're in, dictating what you can and can't do in the race car, the experience is. So those guys going down there getting a year more of experience at that level, especially racing against each other, I think will only benefit them.
All right, guys. So that will wrap it up for Ian's pit stop. You guys got anything else to add?
No, just a really, really exciting week of NASCAR news. We had some huge bombshells dropped. Still waiting for implications as to what's going to happen with guys like Eric Jones and what's going to happen with the 48. Will we see Kyle Larson? And I cannot wait for those tidbits of news to drop and to come back on here and discuss it with you boys soon.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure next week we'll have a lot more to talk about with everything dropping. Guys, it's silly season. This is one of the craziest times in NASCAR. So buckle up and get prepared for next week of Ian's Pit Stop. That will do it for us over here at the Stock Car Spectacle. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. Make sure to follow us on all podcast platforms. Me, Nick, and Mike, we're on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow the Stock Car Spectacle account. And make sure to follow our good buddy Patrick COTA with the COTA's Mojo podcast. We were on there last week talking football, baseball, and NASCAR, so make sure to check that one out. So, for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinsel.